A fuel consumption figure went up on a Canadian government website a little while back. Just a line in a database. Model year 2027, Corolla hatchback, liters per 100 kilometers. No press release, no photographs, nothing. And that quiet little entry is where this whole story gets complicated. Because the car everybody is waiting for and the car that badge is actually attached to are not the same car. So let me sort that out for you properly. Because if you walk into a showroom next spring asking for the new Corolla, what happens next depends entirely on which country you're standing in. Fair warning on how this one works. I'll be splitting everything into 3 buckets as we go. What Toyota has actually put its name to, what solid reporting says without official backing, and what's still just talk. I'll tell you which bucket we're in every single time. Nobody outside Toyota has driven this car, me included, and I'd rather be useful than exciting. As of July 2026, this is where things stand. And with this stuff, things move. Start with what's on the record. The concept turned up last October at the Japan Mobility Show, and it does not look like anything currently sitting on a dealer forecourt. The bonnet, the hood, if you're in the States, drops low and flat. A light bar stretches between angular headlights, wraparound tail lamps, glass roof. Inside, floating panels curve around the wheel where a dashboard would normally be, and there's a scale model of the car itself sitting on the console, working as the gear selector. Closed-off nose charge port tucked behind the front wheel. So the thing on that stand was the electric one. I'll be straight with you about that gear selector. It's a lovely bit of design, and it's a genuinely strange object to hand somebody who's signing a 5-year finance agreement. That's my opinion, and you're welcome to bin it. Confirmed. The next Corolla rides on a new platform designed to swallow a battery electric drivetrain, a plug-in hybrid, a regular hybrid, or a straight petrol engine, gas engine, from the same architecture. Toyota's own channel laid out the reasoning back in March. In one city, an electric car makes complete sense. 3 streets away, a hybrid makes more. And there are still places where a combustion engine is the only workable answer. Toyota's chief executive framed the whole thing simply enough. The point is building a car people actually want to drive, whatever ends up sitting under the floor. Confirmed as well from a Japanese broadcast that went out on the 19th of July, sedan, hatchback, crossover, and a GR version, all shown under development. Sheets pulled halfway off low noses on a painted concrete floor. And here's the bit I read 3 times over. In that same program, an engineer, asked for an honest opinion of the company he works for, said he thinks they're losing to China. The chairman, on complacency, said that if it happens, it's over. Read that back. That's the company that shifts 250,000 Corollas a year in America alone, describing a sense of crisis inside the building where this car is being drawn. But here's where it gets interesting for you, rather than for Toyota. That Canadian filing I opened with. Toyota confirmed to the Car Guide that the Corolla carries over unchanged for 2027. Unchanged. Same car as the 2026, which was itself a carryover of the car before it. So the 2027 Corolla in Canada is the 12th generation car that's been on sale since 2018, depending on body style. Not the thing from the show stand. In North America, the actual redesign is looking more like a 2028 model year proposition. Elsewhere, a debut in the first half of 2027 is where the reporting points, and the sources contradict each other here, so I'm going to say so, rather than pick the tidier answer. Several outlets have been writing for over a year that the 13th generation arrives as a 2027 model in North America. Toyota's own statement to a Canadian publication says the 2027 is a carryover. I lean on the manufacturer because that's the manufacturer speaking, but I don't know how United States timing lands, and nobody has published a reveal date. That'll be an announcement, not a leak. Expected next. Multiple reputable outlets, no official confirmation. The engine is a new 1.5-liter 4-cylinder, somewhere around 70 kilowatts on its own. Call it 95 horsepower, paired with a motor of roughly 30 kilowatts for something near 136 horsepower combined. It replaces the current 1.8. Toyota showed that engine family publicly in 2024 and claimed up to 12% better fuel economy in a car this size. A turbocharged version of the same 1.5, around 178 horsepower, is expected in the range. A plug-in hybrid with 2 motors is expected, and American hybrid pricing in the $25,000 to $30,000 band is expected, which is outlets estimating, not a price list. Rumored and flagged as such, a hydrogen version. A GR with a 4-cylinder turbo pushing towards 400 horsepower. And the one that would genuinely reshape your shopping list. No plain petrol engine at all. That's already happened in Australia, where the whole Corolla range went hybrid, so there's a working preview of that answer, sitting right there, still unconfirmed for the next generation. One more thing before we move on. Those sharp-looking 2027 Corolla images doing the rounds on blogs and thumbnails are digital artists' work. Artist interpretations, not official images. The only genuine pictures are the concept and a set of regulatory filing photos out of China showing a facelift of the current sedan. Hammerhead nose, C-shaped lights, tail lamp strip, windscreen, and roof pillars untouched. That's a refresh of the old platform, not the new one. 2 separate projects, blended together constantly in the same article. Right, here's the part nobody else makes. I went through what people who own the current car complain about, over and over, and then asked the only question worth asking. Does the new one fix it? Cold first. An owner in far northern Minnesota bought a Corolla hybrid in January and wrote about -30 Fahrenheit mornings, mid-30s for fuel economy instead of the 50s on the sticker, and almost no cabin heat at all once it's well below 0. Their trim couldn't be specified with heated seats. There's a blanket in the car. A Canadian owner logged 4.3 to 4.8 liters per 100 kilometers in September, then 8 to 9 once it dropped below freezing. No better than the non-hybrid at that point. This isn't a defect. U.S. Department of Energy figures put cold weather economy loss for hybrids at roughly 30 to 34%. The physics don't care about the badge on the boot. Does the new one fix it? Unknown. Nothing published on cabin heating, heat pumps, or battery conditioning. If you live somewhere that hits -25, that's your question for the salesperson. And personally, I wouldn't accept a shrug. Noise. Second. And this one surprised me, because the evidence genuinely splits. British testing measured 70 decibels at 70 miles an hour, behind the best in the class. Some owners describe highway noise as unbearable, and one wrote about trading the car specifically over it. Others say theirs is perfectly quiet, and they never touch the stereo. Australian testing found the 18-inch wheels on the top trim make it worse, and that the 16-inch car is the better long-distance choice. So it's tires, and trim, rather than the whole model. Toyota says the new body gets extra reinforcement, more rigidity, more quietness. Expected, not measured. The CVT drone under hard acceleration is the other constant, and on that one, everybody agrees. There's an ex-owner post that stuck with me here. Someone had a 2022 Corolla, traded it early when the transmission started hesitating on the highway, bought a 2024 to give the car another go, found that one sluggish and noisy too, and left the brand entirely. One person isn't a pattern, and I want to be careful with that, but the shape of the complaint is the useful bit, not a breakdown, not a bill. Just noise and hesitation that wore them down across 2 cars. Space third, and this is the one that fills forums. The hatch has a 217-liter boot to the trunk against 295 in a Mazda 3 and 395 in an i30. The sedan gets 470, which is why families who test both usually walk out with the sedan. Rear headroom is tight. The middle seat is compromised by a driveline tunnel, and there's a tire repair kit where a spare should be. The concept has no transmission tunnel at all, which hints at real packaging change. Whether the boot actually grows, nobody has said. Screen fourth, quickly. The 10.5-inch system in the British cars gets criticized for slow responses and awkward menus. The half-minute wait on a cold morning with a frosted windscreen comes up a lot. A newer generation of Toyota infotainment is expected, not confirmed for this car. And that's the confirmed and expected material done. What's left is the decision. Money and everything here is stamped July 2026 because these numbers move. In the States, the 2026 Corolla runs roughly $22,995 to $29,240 US before destination. In Canada, $27,915 to $40,510 Canadian dollars, including fees. In Australia, $32,110 to $39,100 Aussie dollars before on-road costs, with the top hybrid hatch landing in the mid-40s drive-away. In Britain, about $30,145 to $30,345 pounds. That expected next-generation hybrid at $25,000 to $30,000 US dollars would sit roughly where the current car already sits, which suggests Toyota intends to protect the price rather than chase the Prius upmarket. The official record briefly, because it's the part people skip. In April 2026, 86 examples of the 2026 Corolla were recalled in the States over headlight optical axis marking, with both front assemblies replaced free of charge. The 2023 to 2025 Corolla Hybrid was recalled earlier for skid control software that could cut brake assist mid-corner. And Australian Corollas built from January 2025 are unrated by ANCAP because the 5-star rating from 2018 expired. That last one isn't a defect, it's a paperwork reality, and it'll matter more to fleet buyers than to you. Any car can be checked by Vine through NHTSA, Toyota's own portal, the DVSA, or the ACCC. So where does that leave you? Buy this year, and you're buying a 7-year-old design with the reliability record and the resale figures that come with a 7-year-old design. And dealers know a replacement is coming, which is worth remembering when you're talking numbers. Wait, and what's coming is a new platform, a new engine family, probably a plug-in, possibly an electric one. And the first model year of anything is the model year with the most unknowns. I'm not going to tell you which of those is right, because I don't know your climate, your commute, or your finance rate. What I can tell you is that the gap between those two cars is wider this time than it has been in 20 years. If you own one, I want your climate and your one complaint. That's the comment that makes this useful to the next person. Ex-owners, I especially want you. Why did you sell it? And what did you buy instead? And if you're holding out for the new one, tell me what would make you stop waiting and sign tomorrow, because the why is the interesting part. We went through the current Corolla in proper detail recently, owner by owner, and it connects straight into everything changing here. The Civic and the new Elantra are next, because that's who this car has to beat when it finally lands. That's the picture as it stands. Whatever you land on, buy it with your eyes open. See you in the next one.